Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers. I thank everybody that's involved with this process, because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers.
Experience is not about the publisher, it is about us, the authors.
Good afternoon. Today is January 26th, Friday. Happy Friday to everybody. My name is Donald Welch, and I'm the author of the book, The Love I Thought I Knew. I want to go ahead and show the cover for people that tuning in that may have not tuned in throughout the week. There we go, so we can see. And then actually, I'm going to show the back. I got a message on the back. It's love is the most critical element in a committed relationship. Without it, the foundation will chip away. So kind of give you, I have a picture of myself back there, and let me see, I got the message right up here. So as you can see, like I said, love is the most critical element in a committed relationship. Without it, the foundation will chip away. The important thing I think with that is, like I said, it is a critical element. You have to be committed to a critical element, especially when you're talking about relationships and how far you take relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage, the whole 9 yards. And you also want to use this from a professional standpoint as well, because believe it or not, you have relationships from professional standpoints. You got a professional relationship with vendors or people that you do business with and stuff like that. So even though that when we're talking about the level of love is different, when we're talking about commitment, we're talking about commitment from a personal standpoint, it's a whole lot different than commitment from a professional standpoint, because you've heard the term, you don't want to mix business with pleasure, because when it comes to business and you're in a committed contract or whatever the case may be with, in a professional standpoint, then that can be, as we would say, tampered with. So you don't want to cross those lines, because now, depending on how you approach the situation, it can become a personal issue. So now you done took what was supposed to be professional personally. So now you got to get up, you got to go to work the next day and still deal with that individual from a professional level, where you're going to have those personal feelings there. So that's the things that we have to be careful, be pretty much aware of when we're talking about, commitment to relationships, commitments to your job, commitment to, your family. Okay. And one of the things I was thinking about after we had ended the session yesterday about, I had an individual ask me, what is love to me? And, like I said, love can be quite a few things. It just depends on what type of love, what's more important in your life. What type of love is more important in your life? Is the love for your family, to have unconditional love? It's the love for yourself, because you got to learn how to love yourself before, you learn how to love anything else. So if I was to put it in order, I will say love yourself will be number one. Unconditional love will be number two. And anything that comes after loving yourself and unconditional love It's the love that falls underneath, like I said, love for your profession, love for a sport, the love that you have for, I mean, favorite foods. We always say, that's my favorite. I love that, and, if you don't have it, it doesn't create as much impact as if, you know, your unconditional love and your loving yourself is compromised. Okay. So, but I just wanted to recap a little bit in the book. I know I almost came to an end with the book yesterday because I wanted to share information on my other books. But I was saying with, again, the love I thought I knew, real quick, individual, gave all his love to his spouse. He's dedicated to his marriage. He would do anything to prove to her that, you are my world. You're my number one. Let's see. Hey, Bob, how you doing today? Thank you for joining. Okay. So, with that being said, like I said, he loved her to the very end, and no matter what it was, he never stopped loving her. Okay. Even though once he found out that, he had the infidelity, the deceit and deception, he continued to love her. But I could say that his level of love kind of changed for him because the fact that he's been betrayed, now he's got to deal with the fact that now he gave his all for loving her unconditionally. Now that's been tarnished. Okay. And that was a rough blow to him. So, we deal with those type of things in life. Okay. Let's see. Missouri. And I was browsing your booth yesterday and I see you have a lot of books. Yes. I have a total of 7 books, and I wanted to kind of just touch on them real quick. And, I'll go over I'll go over the titles before I actually hit over. So as we were saying, we was discussing the love I thought I knew. So what I'll do is I'll just call out the name of the books, and I'll hold the books up here so people can see. Let's see. I want to do it in the order that they were written. Okay. All right. So my first book that I wrote when I retired out of the military was called Drinking from a Tainted Fountain. Okay. Let me see. Get that. Okay. Yeah. Drinking from a Tainted Fountain. Okay. And on the back, I have up here, as you can see, at 30 years strong, a long journey I walked it, drama I dealt with it, discrimination I faced it, serving the country I achieved it, blood, sweat, and tears I gave it. Okay. So when you're looking at 32 years, you can best believe you've given your all. So at 32 years, I'm at the age of 55. So I've spent more than half my life in the military. So good afternoon, Timothy. Glad you can join us. And let's see, the next book, Alliances versus Collusions, okay, which I don't have any images on there. So the Alliances versus Collusions, and like I always say, I give my quotes on the back. Live your life and love yourself. Only you can control you. Okay. So that's kind of like what the back looks like for that one. All right. And this book here is kind of like a spinoff from Drinking from a Tainted Fountain. So like I said, when I explain a little bit more in detail, I'll be able to tell you a little bit. Okay. So the next book here I have Schooling Challenges of a Military Dependent. Okay. Kind of basic cover with this one. Okay. And this book is based on my youngest son. I have 4 children, but I have 2 of them that are, well, I'll say 3 adults. My oldest is 37, my second oldest is 35, and I have one that's 22 that just graduated college not that long ago. And the one that's at home with us now, he's 13. So, but basically this book here is about, I would say it's dedicated to him. I have pictures and stuff that I can, briefly show that, as you can see, he was like a young child there, and, he was with me for the most part, going to, I think we was at, it was a place in Miami Beach where, we got to hold the birds. And as you can see, I'm there in uniform. I got him a little uniform. He wanted to, always mimic me. So when I saw that our uniform shop sold those uniforms for kids, I had to get him one. So as you can see, we're sitting there, we was out there in front of my apartment, and we were just we were just enjoying ourselves, having fun. So in other pages, I do have pictures of him and some of the activities. So you got him, Me, him, and my wife, who was out in the park, we was taking pictures out there. We got events where he had, pictures of when he went on like his school trips. A couple of my favorites, when he got out there to play soccer, that was a fun thing because I was able to be an assistant soccer coach. Never coached soccer, but I have fun doing it. There's a lot of things that I learned about it. Um, let's see, we got a couple more pictures I can see. Like uh, we was doing the Christmas celebration. They have this thing where you ride this you ride in your car, you get to see the lights and so on and so forth. So in this book, so this one basically is more of a children's book, and like I said, that particular book is strictly dedicated to him. So all right, so we got also pick up the books I just dropped. Okay, so the book that I wrote right after that, okay, and this is book number 4, but out of book number 4, this was the first one that I wrote as a play. Okay, this was called Hide My Unhappiness. Okay, and this book entails some of the same concepts when we talk about love. You have a married couple, and then you're talking about love unconditionally, and then you get the distractions out there. It can be family, it can be friends. When you're married and knowing that, first we was talking about unconditional love. Loving somebody is definitely difficult. Okay. Um, Communication, which is one of the most difficult things in the world for a lot of people to do. So keep in mind, you got to communicate. Well, first you have to love yourself. Loving yourself gives you the self-confidence to be able to communicate because you have to explain to people how do you feel. Okay. So with loving yourself, after you love yourself, you work on your communication. Once you got your communication under control, now you can start loving unconditionally because you can be clear and concise on what it is that you're desiring. Okay. And when you love unconditionally, that takes a lot of work because as we say, you have those distractions. So, and believe me, that's what any and everybody, they're going to be there. Sometimes when you feel that you're not going to have the distractions and everything feels perfect, and that's a great feeling, but you always have to prepare yourself because you got to look at it like this. When you're in a relationship with somebody, you got to keep in mind that either one, they've had different types of relationships before you came along, whether it be one-on-one, they have relationships with their family where it could have been a close-knit family. So that's one of the challenges you have to deal with. I've seen cases where, people marry into a family and then people feel that did they marry that individual or did they marry the family? Okay. And along with that it's like depending on the personality of the person will determine, I would say your level of happiness. And I'll explain what I mean when I say that. Because where you may have one individual that can put their foot down and be firm, where you have another individual that's probably working on it, and then you have that individual that can't do it at all. Okay, let's see. Wow, my son. Yeah, I feel that my son is proud of me. We talk, and like I said, you got this younger generation. We could talk and they can be happy, and then they want to get back to what they're doing. So, like, even with my youngest son, just like a lot of other people, they're into their electronics. Like right now, my son is on the virtual reality, the Meta toy, whatever that is, and he's in his own world. Okay. Good afternoon, Sean. Let's see. How long did it take for you to write each of your books? Okay. I would say with my first book, it took me a while because, I was trying to get the hang of it because one of the things I always do is when it comes to writing, like I always said, like I said before, some of the previous segments that always have a pen and pad with you because you want to have ideas. You want to jot those down because, we're not walking encyclopedias. So it's one thing that you can say, I was thinking of something, but I lost my train of thought. Like I said, again, I'm 55, so I know I'll forget things. So that's why I always keep a pen and pad with me. There's not a place that I really go without it because something's going to inspire me and I'm going to write it down. So that's it. My first book, I could say, took 2.5, almost 3 years because I was still chopping at it. And then as time go on, the time starts to lessen. Okay. Let's see, Eloise, what do you think is the truest expression of love and how? Let's see, I would say that's a good question. It's kind of broad, when I say the truest expression of love. Um, One way people can feel love, I would say one way is affection. Can I say it's the truest? It's true to me, but at the same time, it's still a learning experience, affection and consideration, having consideration, affection and consideration is, I would say, is truly important because when you're looking at affection, you're looking at consideration, that kind of leads to intimacy. And when I say intimacy, it's connecting with one another. When people hear intimacy, automatically they may think, sex. And, intimacy, like I said, there's many different definitions when it comes to intimacy. So if you have that, consideration, showing the affection and, the intimacy, I think those are some of the truest expressions of love because if a person do not really care about you, more likely you're not going to see those things. I mean, it could be a simple gesture. It's just holding hands, it's kind of like that skin on skin contact. It's like, I gotta touch you. So something as simple as holding hands, something as simple as hugging, it's a lot of things that, you can show your expression. So, but like I say, again, it's broad and everybody's different, but, I just think the affection and consideration is, two important ones. Okay, George, how did you capture the intricacies of different kinds of relationships in your book? Well, what I did was I could say I take some of the things that I felt when it came to relationships and my beliefs, and then talking with a lot of my colleagues and with their relationships and their beliefs. And again, I had my pen and pad, and I was jotting them down. And what I did was whatever I wrote down, I said, okay, how did I come up with that? So I started doing a little research of you know not so much research. I would call it studies. I would even go out as far as asking questions like, how long have you been together? What's that spark that keep you together for so long? What are your highs? What are your lows? And I've had different people was able to explain to me without, having to get, deeply in their business because that's not what it was. It was one of them things that you ask them and then you also explain to them why you're asking. Like, if I ever get into a relationship or a situation, I want to know the do's and don'ts. I want to know, it's like you want to hit the ground running and what can I do to keep this fire burning? So that is one of the things I look at when it comes to the level, like I said, level of love and dealing with relationships. Okay, let's see, Margaret. I think inclusion is a lovely way of expressing love. To be included in someone's day and plans is the best way to feel love. I agree with you. I truly agree with you because I'm one of them individuals, like, let's say my wife, when she gets off work, and even if she comes home and she's in a good mood, I just like to ask her, how was her day? Just get her feel because, she may have a story to tell and I just want her to get it out, and I think when people do more connection with one another, you know, the expression of love is going to come in so many ways. I mean, like I said, it goes back to the consideration part, asking how was your day, how do you feel, or is there anything I could do to, make this day better? Or if the type of person that you have a strong bond and you have a strong connection with your significant other, you already know what to do without even asking. I mean, my wife, she stands on her feet all day at work. So, I mean, even if I rub her feet or just the little things like that mean a whole lot because they don't have to ask. It's kind of like, what makes them tick, then guess what? Satisfy that tick. Okay. Let me see. Timothy saying, I believe the simplest gestures are ones that convey the most love. It's the little things we take for granted and we deeply miss when they're gone. That is one of the truest statements in the world because, like I said, simple gestures. I mean, something as simple as I love you can go a long way. Something as simple as you make my day. I love your smile. Your hair is beautiful. I mean, it could be a number of things that you can do to, I would say, take your relationship to that different level because now, if you can make that a routine, then it becomes easy. I mean, think about it. Just tell somebody, I love your hair, I love your smile. It costs you nothing but a second of your time to relay that message to do what you can to make your significant other, feel good about themselves, that you can also reassure them that I love you when you think I don't, or even if it doesn't cross their mind, they're going to know in the back of their mind that I do have somebody that loves and cares for me. So, but like I said, I mean, the little things mean a lot. I mean, I can I can get my wife a card, and it doesn't have to be an occasion, or I can buy her flowers. It doesn't have to be an occasion. And the reason behind that is I have that, what I call, it's a specific category I call just because. You know, I came across these roses and I wanted to get them for you just because it's a gesture. If it's anything that's going to make you feel good, or just surprise. I love to see the surprise look on my wife's face when it comes to different things. I mean, like, I'll give you an example. One of her favorite meals is barbecue chicken. She loves barbecue chicken. So if she's coming home, instead of, what do you go eat? What are we eating today? And then she's coming in, even if I don't say anything, she's got barbecue chicken. I know she's going to be happy because barbecue chicken is one of her favorite. And, I could find like spaghetti. That's another one of her favorites, spaghetti and meat sauce. So just those two, even if she's not thinking, she may be on her way home. What am I going to eat when I get home? There you go. You got the chicken, or you got the spaghetti, or let's just say if it's something different that I wanted to try, I'll give her a heads up like, hey, I want to try something different, just be prepared when you get home. Okay. Let's see, Zuri. What advice can you give to couples who are just starting their relationships? Communication, for starters. We want to communicate. You want to be able to convey to one another what it is that you're looking for within the relationship. And sometimes people get to that point when they communicate, they wondering, is this something that I should say? Or, they may be a little nervous. So my advice, in some cases where I would say communication, when I say communication, you want to have open communication. And, as long as you're communicating, you're being respectful to one another, the more you communicate, the more you can find out, the more that you can learn, even the more you can learn about yourself, because you can communicate something, or let's say you can ask that question, and the answer that you may get from that individual, it could either be the answer you're looking for, it could be an answer that you probably weren't expecting, and say, well, I would have never thought of it like that. And not that it's a bad thing, but it also helps you open up and teach more about yourself, like open your mind to a lot of things that you probably had your mind closed to. And not that you had your mind closed purposely, it's just one of the things that you can always learn a lot. I mean, every day to me is a learning experience. So for one, like I said, the communication, the respect for each other, and I would definitely have to throw this in here, patience. You have to have patience. And that is one of the hardest things that we have to deal with, because you got to look at it like this. When you have the patience piece is one of the things where you're going to determine that, okay, I got the patience, I may ask a question. I can't, say that she or he didn't answer it the way I'm looking at it, or she or he didn't answer it fast enough. They hesitated, because the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to, stick your foot in your mouth. And then here it is, you get the answer that you were looking for, but now you got to think about what your reaction was before you got the answer, and then what that person is thinking. So that person will be thinking like, oh, this person is very impatient. I don't know how this thing is going to work. But like I said, communication, patience, respect. So, but let me get to this real quick. This is actually book number 5, and this is a play as well. This one is called My Lost Identity. Okay, I kind of hold it up a little close, where, as you can see, with the My Lost Identity, I got the picture of a birth certificate, and was born to unknown, 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 and as you can see, the doctor on duty, unknown, and stuff like that. And the reason why it's unknown, because again, it's my lost identity. So with this one is, you're looking at kids, when they don't have an identity, chances are they're going to go into the foster system, the foster care system. So once you get into the foster care system, not that you're not a human being, not that you're not a person, but at the same time, when you're in the foster care, people, tend to look at, individuals as, they don't really have an identity. You do have a personality, but your actual identity, because now you're in the foster care, waiting, to either be adopted or whether you become a foster child. So now they're looking for a family. So you got, kids where they may not be with a biological family. That doesn't mean that once they come across a family that, that's going to love them, you got family that's going to love you unconditionally. The only truth to that that you're going to have in the back of your mind is they just not your biological family. But just because you with a family and it's not your biological family doesn't mean that you will not receive unconditional love. So, but sometimes you may have parents that they either want more kids and they can't have kids for whatever the reason may be, or you got people that, like, let's just say you can have a woman that she wants kids, and let's just say she only had two kids, and for some odd reason she can't have any more kids, and say she had two boys, and she may have wanted a girl. So, I mean, adoption, foster parent, that becomes an option. So, but she's looking at, I've always wanted a girl. So if she either adopt a girl, or if she takes on a little girl as a foster kid, more likely that kid is going to get the same unconditional love that a biological kids receive. One thing that with that also is, when you have kids, especially if they are of age, then you got to look at the challenges. You're bringing the child in from basically from the outside, you bring them in. Whereas, kids, of course, they tend to bond with, their little brother or their little sister because mom had them. Not saying that they can't bond with a foster child or an adopted child, but you're looking at, I would say, when you're looking at tender ages of anywhere from like 2 to 8, when if you have that one child, and let's just say it's an only child. So now that child's he's going to be used, he or she's going to be used to the attention all being focused on them. And then, between the ages of, like I said, 2 to 8, now you're bringing another child in, knowing that mom didn't have the child. Now this kid is curious, like, okay, who is this kid? Where's this kid coming from? How long is this kid going to be there? So you got those type of questions that's in a little child's mind. And then, you got to also make sure that you let them know and, make them feel that nothing's going to change with them because they bring somebody else in. I mean, that's the same thing like when it comes to if you was to bring a pet in, a puppy, for example. I mean, I grew up with basically, variety of animals, but, dogs for the most part. So I grew up with dogs. So even when I was little, my mom had a dog. So she used to call him my little brother. But, that we tend to do that. But like I said, when you got family, they love dogs. So, and even with pets, love can become unconditional. Okay. So, of course, we had The Love I Thought I Knew, which was the book that came after My Lost Identity, which was book number 6. So the recent book that I had just released, what was it, like December 24th, was called A Dad's Unexpected Battle. So kind of give you a front view of that. So this is the front, and as you can see, okay, and like I said, I always have a message on the back of each book. Actually, on The Love I Thought I Knew, let me go over that slogan. On The Love I Thought I Knew, our legacy is what contributes to continuing our history. Don't lose your history by lacking the interest to preserve it. Don't lose what you can control. And that's the slogan that I use for My Lost Identity. Now, on The Dad's Unexpected Battle, I have the ingredients to the stability of the family is love. Once love is gone, the stability is chipped away to nothing. Okay. Now it goes back to what I was saying when we're talking about loving unconditionally, because when you have a family and you love them, you don't want anything to compromise that. You don't want anybody to feel that they have any question if you love them or not, because once they start feeling that, then now you have to put in more work to prove to them that there is unconditional love. And like I said, once a person don't feel the unconditional love, you have to be prepared to do more work because, like I said, we've discussed previously in a couple of sessions where we was looking at, or well, we came up with, you're going to do 70% of the work to get 30% of the sunshine. And like I said, that sticks with me because it's so true. It's so true. Because like I said, love is hard work. So you got to keep in mind that if you're willing to put in that hard work, chances are, the more you put in that hard work, and if your significant other is in tune with you, she or he is gonna help you tip that scale back the other way, where you can get 70% of sunshine, 30% of work. Okay. So with that, I'm looking at other future projects. Like one project I'm working on right now that I can't really share, but I am working on that, and I'm going to have more, books and stuff that I'm going to be writing. And like I said, I love to write. It's a passion of mine, and I will continue to write until I can't write anymore. So right now, I am stuck on, writing plays because for me, writing plays is a dialogue that you can follow. When you're writing a book, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll never say I would never write a book because, you may need that book where you have that self-help where it could be, these are the steps that you take when you're trying to do this or whatever the case may be. But right now, I'm kind of like stuck on plays because, like I said, it's a dialogue that you follow. It's kind of like when you follow the dialogue, you can put yourself in a place where it seems like you're talking to that individual. So, but I think when you have dialogue, people are in tune. When you don't have dialogue, people, their mind can tend to wander. And, you say to yourself, okay, now I got reader's block. Let me put this down for a second. So when would it be that you would pick the book back up? Whereas if you have dialogue, you follow a dialogue, it's always that, oh man, what's getting ready to happen next? What's getting ready to happen? So, but wanted to real quick, I wanted to share with you before I go because my time is almost up. Um, Along with the writing, what I do is, especially in my spare time, I create greeting cards, and with the greeting cards, uh, I'll tell you what got me started with the greeting cards. I was in the store one day looking for my wife. I want to say it was an anniversary card. I was, either anniversary or birthday, or one of the two. And I kept going to the store, and it's like I'm not finding what it is I'm really looking for. Because a lot of these cards, they just pretty much factory cards, and it doesn't state what it is you're looking for. You know what I mean? So that's why I got into creating greeting cards, which I'm actually pulling a couple out right now because I just want to show them up there real quick while I still have just a little time. And what I do with these cards is I personalize them to, to the message that I'm trying to get across. So like say for example, drop the card. Let me get this card here. Okay. So let's say for example that one of the I put to you like this. One of the favorites that people have gave me feedback on were Mother's Day cards. Okay. And I did a lot of Mother's Day cards for people and I got positive feedback. So I mean, I love these things, and and like I said, these are the type of cards that when people are doing spring cleaning, they're not going to throw these away. So, but I wanted to show you this one real quick. So this card here, this is a condolences card. Okay, um, I did this card. Let's see, we had a person. Of course, when it's a condolence, somebody passed away. So kind of give you an idea what some of the pictures look like that I have in here. So as you can see, out of Jesus would cross, and you got prayers, you got the bird up there, and these words are, words that I come up with, kind of taking a stab in poetry as well. So, I kind of like love to put some type of poems or, if it's, a person's personalized words that they put in there, I'll do that as well. So as you can see on the next page, I got pictures of the blooms, faith, love, you got hope and blessings, okay? And some wording, see, like God did it. That was a poem that I came up. God did it. Every morning that I wake up, you can't really see with the glare, but you get the idea. So everything after the at each paraphrase, God did it. Okay, so that was a poem that I came up with, and I also do pictures of four family members. Like as you can see, this was the lady that had passed, and you know an angel story, another one I came up with, and it's kind of like a booklet, and then like I said, I also got her, with her kids, and then as you can see, I got a poem up here, a child, a child's bond, mother's a gift from God. She's the source of unconditional love. See, go back to what I was saying with unconditional love, okay? And then on the back of each card, I put a verse. I can select verses, or people have their own preference of a verse. I'll put that on there as well. So, okay, so right now I'm at that point where it's about, I'm out of time. So I just wanted to share with y'all a couple of things that I did, with the cards, and hopefully I can show more later on. And like I said, I can get more in detail with the other books that I have wrote. Okay. So, well, thanks for tuning in. God bless, and you have a safe and blessed weekend. My next showing is I will be up on the Author of the Hour from 3:30 to 4:30 on this Sunday upcoming. So if you can, please tune in. All right. Thank you. You have a blessed day.